All right, Mark, what up, man? How are you?
I'm excellent, man. I mean, I'm actually not that excellent. I don't know what I'm doing. That's like such a loaded thing right now, right? How are
Right?
you?
It's
What,
Corona good.
I don't know how I am, man. I'm just like living right now.
We're marching, right? We're marching one foot at a time, shift when we have to shift.
What's going on, man? Holy moly!
What's it like for you in the restaurant industry? Because I mean, I got a couple friends that like Josh Diner, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, sure.
Sus.
We've
But what are you doing? How are you handling all
been on
this?
the phone a little bit, also. Yeah, but it's just wacky, man. It's just really, like I don't know. Like, listen, I've been in this for 22 years. I opened up back in 1998. So I've, so I've, so I've had a restaurant since then. So I'll be all right. Um, but yeah, like anything, we had to like lay off a lot of folks. We're actually holding on to a lot of folks. Um, Luckily, we have the wherewithal to to actually hold on to all of uh, the, the the managers and stuff. The hourlies, obviously, we had to do some layoffs, but the one restaurant Fiorella, we're able to sort of sell some things, and we're able to basically make a little bit of money there. Eventually, we're able to sell some of the wines off, because I've because so, 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 so I have a wine cellar there for
Right.
a lot of years. So probably have like several $100,000 in there, so every week we're just kind of selling off a little bit, just to make enough for the health insurances of everybody and all that stuff, and the rents. But I mean, I'm not so worried about me. I'm just worried about the industry and like where it's actually headed after this. Like, what are we going to open up with? What's it going to look like? Are we even going to be able to like have a restaurant? Are we even going to be able to like sit near one another? I
Yeah,
mean,
are you going to be able to like hold my glass of wine or water and fill it?
yeah,
Right?
like
Are we
what's
going
that
to?
going to look like?
Yeah.
And then what does other stuff look like? Like, there's where you have to eat like sort of next to one another, sushi bars. Like, what's a sushi bar going to look like? You're going
Right.
to have like four seats, every like 6 feet apart. So this is, I think, step num, 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 number one, right? I think for the first like week, I was like, just all right, man, I got to figure this out. I didn't open up anything, and then after sort of the morning happened, I was like, all right, man, you know, Vetri, we could sell wine. Fiorella, we can do this. The Vegas restaurant, nothing, obviously, because that's in a like
Casino.
a larger thing. But um, so we just started figuring out stuff.
That's how. I mean, I was the exact same way. I was like Friday, but we closed, right? We got everything shut down, and then for like a day or two, I was like, "Fuck,"
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like, "Fuck." What do you do,
yeah,
right? Because like if you're in the same boat, right? Like you have a
yeah,
full restaurant, I had a full
yeah,
school, right? Everything's
yeah,
going great. You can imagine, like, okay, you can watch it slow down, right? Like,
yeah,
okay, well, hold on, we got to make some adjustments in the restaurant. Like some people, the revenue's less, yada yada. But you don't imagine going from rocking and rolling to zero. Oh
nothing.
my God, nothing, not a dime,
And that's
right?
weird, also, right? Because the one restaurant, Fiorella, we just opened up, and we were crushing, man. We were crushing. And even on that last, like, remember the last week? It was March, I think. Whatever, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
We were open because we're only open there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were like, we have 20 seats there, and it's just like rock and roll, and we were doing like 120, 130 every night, like cranking,
Oh
cranking.
yeah.
Even like there's all the stuff. Should we open? Should we not open? Everyone's coming out. And even like Sunday night, like the last night, we still did 100. I'm like, oh man, like what? Like this is so weird. And then it's nothing.
Nothing.
I
had to slow down for sure. Like so I teach on Tuesday and Thursdays. My Tuesday was really busy. My Thursday was dead. Like, so, I mean, my classes, I normally get like 40 to 50 in my class, So Tuesday, normal. Thursday, I had about half that amount. And then we closed. And, Friday the 13th, man, was the day for us. Like, I'm never going to like a Friday the 13th again.
Something else
right?
to just like head, right?
Freddy Krueger, the boogeyman, whatever you want to say, came for us.
But also think about, I think about my industry. Like, what's that going to look like? What's your industry going to look like? You guys wrestle with we work out with, like, this isn't like, you're working out, you're like doing this, you're like hugging people.
Yeah, we're the antithesis of social distancing.
Sweating on people. So, and I'm in that also, obviously. I got my Eastern stuff on.
Yeah,
I figured I would have to represent. This one's old school too.
I know, that one's old. That one's old. Yes, I think that was the first sweater we put out when we did the whole like Easton Training Center.
Oh yeah, but like what is that gonna look like? I mean, I don't know. It just makes me nervous,
I think it's gonna be interesting. I just read this morning that they're getting hopefully by next week. Fauci said they might have an antibody test.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that will be interesting, right? So you'll be able to go take the test to see if you got it.
If you're just immune to it. Like,
because if you already had it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that would be good.
I mean, some folks are going to be like, hey, my 9-year-old, he loved it. But I don't want to risk it. So, you could lose a lot of people like that. And like,
oh yeah, for sure. Right. Because if you have it and your kid doesn't, there's no way you're going to bring it home to your kid.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I really think we're in like the first, sort of, the first phase of everything. I think like the reality is going to set in when we reopen. And, the restaurant isn't full and like your rooms aren't full and, we're going to rehire everyone because maybe, some of us got some money from the government and, so we're allowed to rehire everyone. And then, like maybe we're going to be rocking again, but maybe we're not. And then we're going to have to be like, all right, well, now I got to let some people go. Now I got to sort of, figure things out.
The weird thing with that loan, with that money from the government thing, is that unemployment's better for them.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm having the same. So Fiorella, so the first week, we did nothing. Second week, we're like, okay, we're gonna sell like rig, and we're gonna sell sauces, and we're gonna sell all kinds of stuff, and we opened it up online and it like sold out in 5 minutes. And then like next day sold out. So we started making more and more. So then we're like, man, we got to hire folks back. And then we start phoning up folks like, hey man, we got like, yeah, I'm kind of making this and I'm getting an extra $600. So I don't want to do that. So I don't want to work. I'm like, all right, well, I get it. I would do, but it's kind of hard, right?
Dude, right. Like, so, but then the thing with the hiring them back is you have to hire a certain percentage back because that makes the loan be a grant.
Forgivable.
I'm fine with a grant. Like I'm good with a grant. I am not good with a $500,000 loan.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying. Everyone's we're going to give you like a 0.1 like loan interest. I'm like, I don't want a fucking loan, dude.
I don't want a loan.
I just spent my whole life. You're like, I don't have any loans, right? I don't want another loan. And like the guys who still owe money who are in this for like just 5 years and they're just kind of starting up, like they owe a lot of money, man. They don't want to owe more money. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't want a fucking loan. It's simple.
Yeah. Every time I say that, they're like, you can't say that. I'm like, no, listen, everybody, I don't want a fucking loan.
Exactly.
I want one. You know?
I'll work it like a home equity loan where if I use it, then I'll pay. I'm fine with that, but I don't want to have to take it. So it's like that package
also,
that, what's that?
I think also rumor has it, and I don't like know about this for sure, but rumor has it that it's all gonna, for them to have us mail in stuff, we use this for this, I think it's all gonna be forgivable, honestly.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So, all right, enough of Corona. I want to talk about you.
Yeah.
Where did this start for you? I know you told some, like the last time that you were in Boulder, you were just like your story was so interesting to me. It was like, I was like, damn, that's fucking badass. Like, so where did this whole like restaurant thing, like how did it get kicked off for you?
I don't know. I just always loved it. Right. I used to, my family's from Italy, from the, and my 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 father was actually raised here, but his mom and dad were actually out. They're actually from Italy, and they arrived here in like 1920. I think they were. Wait, is this working still? Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
they got here in like 1920-ish. They were like 20. They're like 20 years old. Is this working?
Yep, I got you.
And I was raised with those like Sunday, family meals. We used to go down to their house down in South Philly, and we'd have like the red sauce, the gravy, the meatballs, lasagnas, and I just fell in love with that. I mean, I used to look forward to the weekend, and I would always ask like, hey, maybe we can head down early because I want to make some stuff with them and I want to learn. And I just loved it. And I think it was also, I think it was the eating. I think it was the, like the whole, like, the making of all that stuff. But I think it was also the interaction, just kind of sitting around eating, together, interacting, together. Something about that just made a lot of sense, to me. And I just started loving it. And, when I was like 14, I asked my mom and dad if I could go, just to work at a restaurant, like after school, so I, just worked at a local, I think so I remember actually just being able to walk over there like a mile away and, I just started like washing some dishes, and they thought it was nuts. Like, what do you want to wash your dishwasher? I was like, I just fucking love it, man. I'm washing. I'm like watching the guys make stuff, and I'm like watching, and I'm just like loving it. And I'm like,
what kind of restaurant was it?
Yeah, that one. I think it was that one was just a local restaurant. I don't even remember where that one was, but
okay.
but it was just it was just that interaction. It was that whole sort of the movement. I just loved it. And then the summers, you're from here, right? So Margate, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
I had a house in Margate, New Jersey. All of us did. And the house down in Margate. I used to work down there.
The shore, baby, the Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore, Margate. We lived in Margate, and yeah, man. I used to work at the waterfront restaurant that was in
Summers Point, right?
Summers Point, New Jersey. I worked at what's called Maloney's. Maloney's probably, and I used to spend like the whole summer down there. Starting at like 16 years old, 15 years old probably. My mom and dad they left me down there for the summer, and they go back and they they would just leave me there, and I would just work, and I loved it, and it was just always, it was just always there, and it was just kind of something I always, sort of fell back on.
When did you know you wanted to make it a career, right? Like, so, I mean, it's one thing. Like, I love to cook, man. Like, I hit you up all the time.
I know you do. I know you do.
I love cooking.
You're a badass too, man.
No. Hold on.
Stuff together. Some of the meat.
I'm an amateur cook. A badass is you, right? Like, I don't have cookbooks,
All right,
So, but when did you know? Like, a lot of people love to cook, and a lot of people mess this up, in my opinion, right? They go, "Oh man, I love to cook." It's you know what I mean? But then, like, owning a restaurant and being a restaurateur is totally different than loving to cook.
Sure.
Right? So when did you know that this was like what you wanted?
So I always loved it, but I never really, sort of knew. I had actually back in 1990, I'd actually moved out to Los Angeles to go to the Musicians Institute. So I went to the school out there for music.
Right.
Because I love that also, by the way. That's
I know. I always see you playing your guitar.
Yeah, I love it. So I moved out there. So went to that out there, and the only way to make a living was to work, right? Because I was out in LA. I didn't have anything. So I used to work. 4 or 5 nights a week there at a restaurant. While I was in the school, and then I don't know if you're not in the industry, you might. I mean, I think, but everyone's heard of Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah.
He was kind of back in the early 90s. He owned. He was the guy. He had what's called. Spago, and he had some other restaurants out there, Chinois, and he was opening up this one restaurant. It's in Malibu, Granita, and it was like this huge opening, right? It was like everyone was kind of talking about it. It was like I think it was 1991. She was opening up, and this is kind of, when this was like the moment, I think every like industry has a moment when it's like, oh, everybody wants to be a chef. It's like, I think, you guys had that after like UFC, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, jiu-jitsu.
2004 it happened after The Ultimate Fighter.
Exactly. Yeah.
First Ultimate Fighter. Yep.
So we had that, I think, back in the early 90s. Because earlier than that, you're like, you want to be a chef, you want to work. I mean, in a restaurant, like that's kind of a hard life. It's not really looked at as like, oh wow,
There was no such thing as a celebrity chef, right?
No, there was no like Food Network. There wasn't any cookbook deal.
Right.
There wasn't any chef with like multiple restaurants. There was just like, you're gonna slave. You might open up your own restaurant, but you can make a living.
Right.
But again, I loved it. So Wolfgang was kind of like, switching all that over. Like he was like the celebrity chef. He was like, the chef of Hollywood. He had like the restaurants out there, so I went there. So he was opening up there, and I was like, man, I got to work for this guy. Like I got to work for this guy. So I went over there. And I just kind of, walked in the back, and I was like, hey man, you need a line cook? I would love I would love to work. And they were like, nah, we're sort of full now, stop back another day. So I went back the next day. I was like, hey guys, you need anybody yet? They're like, no man, but just
And a line cook shit, right? Like a line cook is
shit. Back then it was $6.57 an hour.
Yeah, you're not a big deal.
No, you're making, so I went there. I asked them for work for 14 days in a row. And they were like, "Nah, man, we're good." On the 15th day, somebody, they didn't actually show up for work. I don't know what happened. They were
Sure.
They were like, "Hey, man, we're shorthanded tonight. We need a guy." I'm like, "All right, man, come on." So I went in. They were like, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to help out here." So I was like, "All right." To work the whole night there, and this is a rocking fucking restaurant, man. This is like $400 a night, every night of the week. This
you
is
say
like
$400,000 in revenue?
No, 400 a night.
Plates.
400. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was like every night. It was like it was just rocking every night. So I went in there. And I rocked it out, the whole night. They were like, "Hey, man, you should stop back tomorrow." I was like, "All right." So I stopped back the next day, and I worked all night, And I worked there for the next 3 weeks for free. I just they were like, "Hey, man, you want to come back tomorrow night? Come back tomorrow." Like, "I'll be here."
Hold on. You didn't get paid?
No. They were just like, they're just like, "Stop back." I'm like, "Okay."
Hold on. So they had a guy that they were expecting to pay, right? That line cook on that first day.
Yeah.
And you just said that you would do it, right?
Yeah.
So then they just kept using you and didn't pay you.
Yes. But you have to understand, he came back to work. Then I was extra.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
but you just did such a good job that first night that they were like, "Yo, we got to keep this guy around."
I mean, I don't know if that was it. They were like, they might have saw something, like I really wanted something, and they weren't like, you have to. They were like, "Hey, man, if you liked it, you want to stop back, you like the work that And I was just like, "I'd love to come back, And they were like, "Sure." So I went back, and I was just like waiting for someone to give notice, so they would be like, because then I was like, I'm going to be next in fucking line. Like,
right.
If I don't go back, someone else is going to walk in. I mean, this is how my mind works. If I don't go back, someone's going to walk in when someone really leaves, or somebody really gives notice, or someone gets fired, and they're going to be like, "Okay, well, you're here now." So I'm like, I'm going to keep going back. Something's going to happen, and I'm going to get the job, and that's what happened, man. 3 weeks later, they were like, "Okay, we're going to hire you. This guy's leaving, so we're going to hire you." I'm like, "Awesome." So I worked there for 2 years, and I loved it. And I learned a lot. And there, I mean, again, that working there was when I really started loving the industry, loving learning things. That was my school. I used to actually head in early also. I mean, I'm all about, listen, I mean, I loved it. So I was like, I'm all in, so I wanted, to learn how to slice a fish, make a stock, slice a lamb leg apart, make this, make that, order, and they had the morning guy who did all that stuff. He organized everything for the restaurant, right? And I was like, I want to learn from this guy. So I used to go in early, and I used to work with him, and they let me, Again,
so you just went to the school of the kitchen.
Yeah.
So no culinary school.
No.
The kitchen, Wolfgang Puck's kitchen.
Wolfgang Puck's kitchen, and that was literally my fucking school, because I learned everything there, and I used to just go in and just soak it all up and listen and write down, and then when my shift started at like whatever it was 4 o'clock at night, I would just boom, okay, now I'm on the clock. But I just learned, and from there, I loved it. And after, a while, I was out in LA for 3-4 years, and I was just kind of like, I don't like it out here. I would really like, to go to Italy. And then I met someone who like knew of a restaurant in Italy, and we started to he was like, you can go work at this restaurant, you could live there, and I was like, I'm in, dude. So I went to Italy, but it was those, I think, early like 1990 years, sort of working there, that really made me say, I want to have a restaurant.
What made you just the grind of it? I mean, because it's like you said earlier, it's not a sexy job, man, right? Like, you're cutting fucking onions, right? And you're messy and you're dirty and like
yeah, there is that, you have to sort of, I think, wade through that stuff. I think it's just like, you're a white belt, man, and you're just getting your ass fucking like knocked out every day.
Right.
You're getting, that's not so awesome either, right?
No, for sure.
Kicked out of you, but but you still see something there that you love, right? You're like, I kind of love this. I love, hey, they did this on me. I like that. I got to learn that. So I think it's kind of a similar thing. Like, I just like saw some stuff that I loved, and I was like, hey, man, I got to slice, 50 orders of this, but one day I'm going to be able to work on the line, and I'm going to learn this, so that was like always in
your head,
my head.
So what was the Italy trip? So how long were you there? And like, is that where it just like,
yeah, I think so. I think the Wolfgang thing sort of wet my whistle. And then, when I got over there, this is like, like I got a one-way flight, to Italy. That's fucking scary. I remember landing, and I was just like, what the hell did I just do? What did I do? I don't know where to go. I had a letter. I had this letter that the guy in America wrote me, and he said, head to this restaurant. It's in right outside of Milan. It's in Bergamo. Head into this restaurant, hand the owner this letter, and that's it. I'm like, that's it. All right. So I got
did that guy call the owner at least? Did the owner know you were coming? Oh, fuck. So you just handed this guy a letter.
Call the owner. No, he did not. I spent like my first night. And then also think about this. I had like $1,500, like everything I saved, I had like $1,500 to my name, and I just like yanked it all out of the bank, stuck it in my pocket. It was like, I'm going to Italy. This is it. I went, and you're over there. You're not like, you're not like making money over there. You're working for free. You basically get like the room, so I landed. I finally made my way to Bergamo. I went from the airport to Milano Station. From Milano Station, hopped on one to to the Bergamo. I asked some lady who like, helped me. She's like, I'm like, where's this restaurant? She's like showing me, hop on this bus. And I didn't really speak good. I mean, a little bit I did, but not a lot. She's like, oh, you go here. And she's like laughing at me. I walk into this restaurant and I'm like, I have like my overalls on. Like I'm wearing overalls because I'm fucking hick from America. I got overalls on. I got my knapsack, and I have and like that's it. And I walk into this fucking restaurant with the note, and I ask, where's the owner? And like that guy's sitting down. He's like, he's older. He's like smoking a stogie. It's like mafia scene. Like, he really, So I walk over and I hand the guy the note, and he reads the note. He looks up at me and he looks at this and he just kind of shakes his head. And luckily, there's this guy who's working there from America. So he walks out, and they say something, to each other. And he looks at me, he's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I want to work. I'm from Philly, but I was in LA, and
you couldn't find some fucking restaurant in America to just work at."
And this guy, and he looks at me, and they say something to each other, and he's like, "Follow me." And he walks me outside. He was awesome, and he was like, "Oh man, that guy, he always fucking does this. He sends guys over. He doesn't let us know, and they just fucking show up all the time." And I'm like, "Oh shit, really? Like, is everything all right?" He's like, "Yeah, man. It'll be fine. We got a room and everything. Don't worry about it." But he's like, "This fucking guy does that all the time." I'm like, all right. So he shows me to the room. It's like this one room with like four. It's like it says like 4 rooms in it, so I got a room, and he was like, "Stick your whites on, and let's actually head over. Let's actually head over to the restaurant." I'm like, all right. So I headed over to the restaurant, and we started working, and I basically worked, for the next 2 years almost,
At that restaurant.
No, so I spent the first like 6 months there, and actually, what happens when you're there is like, you meet cooks, and they're like, "Oh, I used to work in Venice," and I'm like, "Oh man, Venice, that sounds awesome." Like, "Yeah, man, you want to go work there?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." They're like, "Yeah, let me just make a phone call." So they phoned someone up. I went, to Venice. They were like, "Oh yeah, so we could use a guy," So then you end up there, and then you meet someone there, and then you end up somewhere else, So I just worked at like probably four or five different restaurants, in about 2 years, year and a half, and so I just kind of like so I moved all around Italy. I spent like a month in Venice. I spent 2 months in Montefalonica, which is down in like the middle of Italy. And then I went to the Rome area. Then I went down to the Sicily area to visit my family. Back up to Bergamo. So I just moved around, and I just actually worked in like a lot of restaurants over there.
So you come back to the States after that, right? And you immediately open?
No. So I got back in like 1995. I had all my stuff in storage in LA. And then, something, and I was just looking for, I had all my stuff there. I didn't know, I didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't, so I didn't want to start, to work there. So I like randomly met someone while I was eating somewhere who was opening up a restaurant in Alaska. Uh, Juneau, Alaska. And I was just kind of talking to him. He was actually from Italy, and he was like, "I'm opening up this restaurant there, and I really need someone to run the restaurant." And I was like, "Have fun with that, dude. I'm not going to Juneau, Alaska." Like, thanks. He's like, well, why don't you, you obviously need a little bit of money right now. I'm like, yeah. He's like, why don't you, I'm having some folks over Saturday night for dinner. 30 of us. Why don't you just come over? Make us a meal. I'm like, all right, yeah. I could certainly use the money, right? So I went over there and I made a meal, a really nice meal, but 5 courses. The whole thing. So after that, he's like, I want you to be my chef in Alaska. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to Alaska. He's like, why don't you head up there with me, and then we'll just kind of figure it out. You'll see if you like it. It's, I'm like, all right, so I'll write up the way it is. So I went up there with him, looked at the restaurant. It wasn't open, obviously, and he was actually, he was actually just basically starting, organize it, order all the stuff, order all the ovens, lay it out. And I was just thinking, this is kind of like really awesome, right? If I say yes, I get to open up a fucking restaurant from like nothing, right? There was nothing there. I get to lay it out. I get to order all the ovens, like see how I want this, see how I want the walk, where do you want the walk, where do you want the sinks, where do you want everything? I get to like really learn all the ins and outs of opening up a fucking restaurant. And I'm not, and if I really like fuck the whole thing up, it really doesn't matter because it's on his dime, right? So I was just thinking, yeah, fuck yeah. So I went up there for a year and I opened that up for him. And it was awesome and it was awful and it was everything in the middle. But I learned so much there. And I'm so happy that I actually said yes, do it.
Right.
And then from there, I actually moved to New York. And I opened up a restaurant there with an owner there. And I was there for about 2 years. But then it was 1997, and then I was actually getting ready to open up, my own restaurant.
So and then you like took off, right? Like, a couple of years ago, you just sold your restaurants, most of them to Urban Outfitters, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, you went full restaurateur. You became a celebrity chef. Like, so
well,
what?
I think it was just one of those things where I was, it was like 1998. I was in New York for 2 years. I was, sort of working there. I loved it. I was 30 years old, and when I was working for Wolfgang, I don't remember how it actually happened, but I remember just saying to myself, when I'm 30 years old, I want to open up a restaurant. I just like stuck this in my head. I always stick like, things in there like, okay, like I want to have this, when I'm this old, so I had this in my head. When I'm 30 years old, I want to open up a restaurant. And it was New York. It was 1997. It was the end of the year. My birthday is December 28th. And I was going to be 31 years old, and it just all of a sudden, like, I was like, fuck, I'm going to be 31. I fucking missed my goal, you know? Like, I honestly, wasn't even thinking about it because I was working, I was having fun, I loved it. And I was like, I'm going to miss my goal. I was like, shit, So I literally, that afternoon, that was,
No worries.
sorry, that was me.
I was wondering if it was me.
No. That was me. This is like still on or something. So I went to the owner and I was like, hey man, I got to give you notice. He's like, why? Is everything right? You're not making money. You want more money? You want this? I'm like, no, man. I just got to open up my own place. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just got to open my own place. It's like, yeah, but I thought we had something awesome here. I'm like, we do. It's great. I love you. I love this. But I'm 31, and I said when I was 30, I'm going to open something up. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, nothing. No. Like, me, man.
Look, man, I was cutting some fucking onions when I was 24 years old. And I said when I was 30, I was going to open a restaurant. So fuck you.
Nothing to do with you, dude. Don't worry about it. So he was like, all right, so I'm like, listen, I mean, you need a month, you need, whatever you need, 6 weeks, don't worry. Sorry, that was me again. I keep on popping up. I'm out of stop. I was like, yeah, man, 6 weeks. So I gave him like, I don't know what it was. I'm in a month or so. I'm blowing up over here. Sorry.
Okay.
So after that, I went back to Italy for a month, and I was just to sort of, hang out and like refire myself, get all that, live in Italy for another month or so. And then I started looking, man. And I started looking in like New York, and I started looking in Philadelphia. And New York rents and like all that stuff was just like overwhelming, right? You needed 700, 800,000 then to open up anything. And this is, back in 1998. Philly, I started looking around for stuff, and I literally, and I, you have like folks always who are like, oh man, you want to open a restaurant? Let me know. Or like, I want to give you some like money for it. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So I started looking, I found something, and then I started asking, folks for money. And then when it's like, when they actually have to write a fucking check, they're like, actually, I give you $5,000, I give you $10,000. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with 5, 10 grand? So then I was like, fuck this, man. I'm going to go and I'm going to find a loan, an SBA loan. Oh, so I wrote up a whole thing, and I started like submitting it, right? And then I was looking, and I found, and again, you're from this area, so the old the Lebec Fan.
Yep.
That was,
oh my god, my parents loved that restaurant.
That was like the restaurant for years here. They were, where I am now, and then back in 1983, they moved over to Walnut Street.
They're closed now, right? Didn't Lebec
close? Yeah, about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. Yeah, they were there for 40 years. 1969 they opened. So I heard a rumor that the original Lebec Fan was for sale, which is this little 30-seater, and it was called then Chanterelle. This is 1998, and he was there for 6 years, and he was just moving on. He was getting a larger restaurant, so I walked in there, not knowing him, and I was just kind of referred over there, and I was like, hey man, I'm looking to open up a restaurant. So we sat there for a little bit. He liked me, I liked him. So I was like, what do you want for it, this and that? He's like, $50,000 for everything that's in here, and then $25,000 for the liquor license. I'm like, all right, you know, sounds fair, right? So I still was looking for the loans, right? But like, you have to have something, and
It's not easy.
it's not easy, right? You have to have something in order to stick in for the loan, but if you, but it's hard to, like, figure out when to do what.
Right. It's like getting a visa, right? They're like, buy your ticket and then we'll give you a visa.
Yeah. It's like, no,
Maybe don't give me one.
work like that. So, but I had everything ready, so I was like starting to like submit. So I submitted, and luckily, he was there and he was willing to work with me. I went to 20 banks, everybody said no, and the 21st was actually Mellon Bank, and they said yes. And I got a loan for $100,000, and I maxed out an Amex, and I had like my mom and dad loaned me a little bit. So I opened up Vetri in 1998 for $150,000, and that's it. And he signed the lease over to me in July. I worked on it for 3 months. I did almost everything, myself. My father helped out. Friends helped out. Laying this. Doing some electrical work, flooring. And I opened September 22nd. 1998.
And how many more restaurants have you opened since then?
I mean, all in all, like with Urban Outfitters, probably about 20.
20.
Yeah. So I had that, and I had that for 9 years, and that was it.
Okay.
And I had a lot of offers over those 9 years, but I just really wanted to stay focused on like one, and really like make it, from, what I thought was actually like magical. And I think a lot of like nowadays, a lot of, restaurant owners make the mistake of like, having a restaurant and then like 6 months later they're looking for the next thing, and I'm sure a lot of owners also in like,
I think a lot of owners in general.
And like, your industry also probably open up a school and then they want to open up another. But I really think it's awesome to just, just live in it, live in the fucking moment, and like, hone your skills there and really make it something magical. And, so we did that for 9 years there. And then in 2007, we opened up the Osteria. And from 2007 to 2017, we opened like 7 restaurants.
And then you got out, right? And then you got
out. I mean, I sold everything except Vetri.
Okay.
I never sold Vetri, and that was like, I mean,
it's your baby.
It was a big thing. I mean, that was right. Like my baby. They wanted it also. But I was like, listen, man, I'm never selling Vetri, so no. Yeah, so they bought, the Urban Outfitters folks. They bought all the other restaurants, and I held on to Vetri, and I sort of worked with them for like 1.5 years, 2 years. Then I resigned.
Right.
Started, the Vegas thing, and some other things as well.
For sure. So last question before we go. So obviously, through all of this just normal difficulty with restaurants, right? Like, I mean, you have a stutter, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like this puts a halt on entrepreneurs, right? Like, because in your life, right? Like it's your communication isn't as smooth and as clear and as, I mean, everyone's
definitely not smooth. Yeah.
So how, I mean, like, I mean, address that a little bit. How did you get by that, right? Like, how do you
Well,
say yes to going on TV shows and all this stuff, knowing that like this, you know?
all right, well, I mean, it's super hard, right? Like, you you so I watch, your 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 things a lot, right?
Right.
And you discuss like, the fear factor a lot, like, right? And you're honest about it, right? And that's awesome. And I think that actually is like super fucking helpful, right? But imagine being like 9 years old and like you're like the worst fucking thing that could happen is like somebody asks you your name because that's all you're thinking about. Like, my God, I hope he doesn't ask me name because I'm not gonna be able to say it. It's like, fuck, or you're, when I was in like, whatever it was, high school and like all that stuff, folks would laugh at you. You didn't want to raise your hand. It's kind of a super, nerve-wracking thing, right? And for some reason, I don't know, for a lot of, I think, folks, maybe it is a lot harder. For me, I don't know. I like reached a level where, and I think I was like 24 years old or something like that, where I just, something sort of said to me like, this thing really, really doesn't matter anymore. And I don't know like when it was, but I started almost like laughing about it. And I don't know whether it was like moving to Italy or it was just like, I don't know when it actually happened, but I can like, remember certain like things that happened like in my life. Like, when I was in LA, and so I was at the restaurant, and then I left Wolfgang because I went, to be the sous chef. That was at this other restaurant, and so we're getting ready to open, and the sous chef has to make all the orders, right? You got to phone the guy, and you got to leave the order on the voicemail machine, right? And like, for me, leaving an order on a voicemail machine could have been like the scariest thing in the fucking world. Like, certain folks are scared of other things, right? Like, I'm scared of leaving orders on voicemail machines, right? And that was when, remember how the voicemail machines, when they didn't hear anything, they would just shut off?
Yeah.
So I'm calling in this vegetable order, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
There's no email, right? It's like this
no
doesn't
email.
even exist.
This is 1991, dude. There's no email. So so we're like, okay, we're gonna open tomorrow. Mark, you get all the orders in, you get this going. I'm like, all right, good. So I said my list of stuff, and I'm sitting by the phone, and I lift up the phone, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. So I dial the number. I'm like, okay, I'd like to order 150-pound bag of onions, one boop. Voicemail goes off. I'm like, fuck. I call back. 1 case of broccoli, 1 bag of spinach. I need boop. Voicemail goes off. Like 50 times this fucking voicemail goes off. I'm like, oh motherfucker. So the guy the guy walks in next morning with the whole order, and I like yank him aside, and I'm like, "Yo, man, sorry about that message, this and that." And he just looks at me, he's like, "Yo, man, whatever, dude, don't worry about it. I got everything." And man, I just like, that's made me feel like that was like my whole fucking life right there. It's like that was like, wow, like
It doesn't matter.
nobody really cares,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And I think it was like moments like that, and there were, I mean, obviously a lot of them, but that's one that kind of, sticks in my head. Moments like that really just kind of made me sort of, think about like none of this stuff really matters, man. But it's scary, when I did the Iron Chef also,
right?
And you have to walk up and you have to, okay, chef, well, what did you make for us? And I'm just like, I hope you guys got a good editing machine because it's coming out all fucked up, And they edited it and they made it sound all right and this and that, but they were all like, "Yo, man, whatever, don't worry about it." Yeah,
And it's that thing sometimes, like I remember I had a very distinct memory of like I was at a fight in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I was cornering someone. I was like, everyone thinks it's so glamorous, like going to fights. Yeah. It's so fucking boring, right? You watch a lot of Netflix in your hotel room. So I was watching this show on Netflix about these kids that got bullied. And they, two of them ended up committing suicide. And they were in Oklahoma, like this fucking little shit town, Oklahoma. And then like 2 days later, we went up to Venice Beach, right? And man, there are all these weird kids, black kids and white kids, all weird, like weird in their own special way, but they fit in because they were in this big area where people are just like, yeah, man, whatever, find your crew. And that's like that, like God, if we could just get our kids to realize that, right? Like you're going to fit in somewhere, no matter what, stutter, black, white, Mexican, fat, ugly, bald, gay, straight, right? There's going to be a crew for you.
Absolutely.
You just got to find it. And then once you find it, they're going to be like, yeah, man, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. And that's the shit that actually helps me now, like now and it never fucking stops, right? Like I'm not like nervous, but even like this thing, I was like, okay, how am I going to sound? How's it going to be? Am I going to stutter a lot? Am I going to stutter a little? It's like, you never fucking like know, right?
Right.
No, sometimes I could be like not have an issue. And then sometimes I'm like not able to get a word out.
Right.
And you just never know, but all I think about is like, hey, remember when I did that event and I was really nervous and like, I lived through it. Like I lived through it. And I have a fucking 9-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 30, and and I have a family, and and it's like, who fucking like? It's like none of that matters.
The sun comes up,
and the sun comes up the next day, and no matter how I sound, and like nobody's and I think it's this the same thing for a lot of folks, like. Like me thinking that you're leaving and saying, "Oh my God, did you hear how we talk?" Like nobody's doing that.
No.
Not at all. So,
I think like the first, when you first meet you're like, you don't know at first, and you're like, oh, he's got a stutter, okay, and then done. Then it's whatever. Who cares?
Like whatever. That's just you. Fucking how it is. But.
All right, man. Well, fuck. You have an amazing story. Like no culinary school, like showing up at the restaurant 15 days in a row. It's so cool, man. Yeah. So
it was a fun ride. It was
a fun ride. Let's keep it going.
And it still is a fun ride.
Yep.
Now and like now there's a whole new ride going on now.
Yeah, so we got to figure out a whole new ride.
Figure it out. See what's next.
It's cool, man. If anybody wants to reach out to you for support, where can they find you? How can they get a hold of you? Possibly?
You have my email.
Yep.
Just let them have my email, Marc.Vetri.
And man, the cool things you're doing. I know you have social media. What's your Instagram?
Marc Vetri.
All right, there it is.
I'm a little bit loud on Instagram sometimes, getting some fights.
Yeah.
But I like to mix it up a little bit. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, man. If anybody wants to, reach out to me about anything, man, just
hit them up.
Have my number, hit me up, whatever.
All right, man. I appreciate it. As always, everyone, go out there and you have a unique power, and I think Marc's story really describes that, like with all of the possible setbacks and all of just the shit that didn't go like a normal restaurateur would go. He found his unique power. We all have that unique power. So go out there and find your power. Hope everyone has a great day.